So the rate of reaction and reversible reaction or reaction kinetics, as we already discussed, the collision theory, as the number of the particle increase, if greater proportion or greater number of particles have energy more than activation energy, the rate of the reaction will also increase. And this is a Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution graph for the energy of the particles. It is very important. You have to learn all the points we already discussed in the last session. Then how we compare how the shape of the graph will change as we change certain factor. Like example, if we say if we increase the concentration and increasing a concentration of a gas, because concentration is moles present in unit volume. So moles by volume. For gases, we can change we can change its concentration by applying a high pressure. So when we apply a high pressure, so what happens? The volume will decrease. As a result, the concentration will increase. So as we increase the concentration or increase the pressure, so at high concentration or pressure, there will be more particles present in a unit volume. If you have low pressure, the particles will be away. But we have high pressure, the particles will be closer. So as these particles are closer to each other, they will collide, they will have more often they collide or higher frequency of the collision. So as a result, if greater frequency of a collision, the product will also form in a shorter time. And what will be the change in the shape of the graph? So the number of the particle with energy, like if you are using a higher concentration, like more particles are there. So what will happen to the shape of the graph? Because area of this graph shows the number of the particles. Higher concentration means more particles in a small space, and lower concentration means few particles in a large space. So when we have a high concentration, greater number of the particle in a small space, a unit space, you can also say. So means this will have a large area. Higher concentration, the area will be large. But lower concentration, area will be small. The shape of the graph, the average energy, the most probable energy, all the values are same. The only difference is the number of the particles in a unit volume. And as the number of the particles in a unit volume will change, so the number of the particles which have energy more than or equal to activation energy will also change. So as you can see, at a higher concentration, greater area for a particle have energy more than activation. But for lower concentration, few particles are there which have energy more than activation. So this will form a smaller amount of product, or the amount of product molecule formed in a unit time will be smaller as compared to higher concentration. Is it clear? How the shape of the graph vary with the concentration? Then increasing a temperature, how the increasing a temperature will have effect on the shape of the graph. So when we increase the temperature, most of the molecule will have higher energy, most of the reactant particle have higher energy. So this peak, like this was the most probable energy, the peak means the particle with the most probable energy. So the peak will shift towards the right hand side, like towards the higher side, and the number of the particles with the probable energy will decrease. Why the number of the particle with probable energy is decreasing? Because most of the particle, as we increase the temperature, will have high energy, not the probable energy. That's why the number of the particle will decrease which have probable energy, and the peak will shift towards the right hand side. So as the temperature increase, there will be a significant bigger proportion of the particle have energy greater than the activation, as they will have more successful collisions. Effect of increasing a surface area. For surface area, we don't have the change, the graph won't change, the shape of the graph won't change, because the surface area refers to particles in contact with each other. When we have a large surface area such as the powder form of the reactant, they will have more effective collision as compared to a lump. So increasing a surface area will cause a collision to occur more frequently, and that result in a formation of a product in a short time. So when we have powder reactants, crushed reactant, they will react faster as compared to a lump. And the reason is the same, because large surface area, small particle size will have a large surface area, which cause greater collision or higher frequency of collision. But we don't use the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution graph to explain the effect of surface area. It cannot be, because the shape of the graph is not having any parameter which is related to surface area. That's why we don't draw a graph. We can change the graph according to the pressure, we can change according to concentration, or it can be changed according to temperature and catalyst, but it won't change for surface area. So surface area cannot be explained by using this Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution graph. So as we are increasing a temperature, you can see the peak, the most probable energy, particle with the most probable energy is shifting towards the right hand side, and the number of the particle with average or the probable energy will decrease as increase in temperature cause greater proportion of the particle to have higher energy. Then what is the effect of the catalyst? Catalysts lower the activation energy by providing an alternative path or the route for a reaction to proceed. Example, if reactants are forming a product, so reactant absorb energy until they reach sufficient energy, which we call activation energy. And then once they reach activation energy, they will form a product. But if we catalyze the reaction, we use a catalyst. So catalysts lower the activation energy. As a result of lowering the activation energy, there will be a greater effective collision, or number of effective collision increase, and it will form a product. So a product can form at lower activation energy in the presence of catalyst. Then catalysts are of two types. One is called homogeneous, another is heterogeneous. Homogeneous means it will have a same phase. Like the state of the catalyst is same as the state of the reactant. Normally, when we are using a substance as a catalyst, we use heterogeneous catalyst. What is a heterogeneous catalyst? A catalyst which is having a different state than reactant. So catalyst is having a different state than reactant. We call that as a heterogeneous. Homogeneous are used, but normally we use heterogeneous. If you remember, manufacture of ammonia by a Haber process, so we mix nitrogen with hydrogen, and as a result it form ammonia. And we use iron as a catalyst. So nitrogen is a gas, hydrogen is a gas, but iron is solid. So reactants are in a gaseous state, but the catalyst in a solid state. So we call this as heterogeneous catalyst. And in A2, you will study how catalyst is acting, like how catalyst provide an alternative route to the path and how it work or help in reactions. But now you don't have to go in detail or depth of the topic. You just have to understand the fact that the catalyst is a substance which alter the rate of reaction without chemically consumed or used up. And heterogeneous is a catalyst which is having a different state compared to that of reactant. So normally manufacture of ammonia by Haber process, so iron is a catalyst which are heterogeneous. Manufacture of sulfur trioxide from sulfur dioxide. So that is also, we use vanadium pentoxide V2O5. So we use solid, but sulfur dioxide is gas, oxygen is gas. So again, we use a heterogeneous catalyst. So heterogeneous catalyst is in a different phase compared to that of reactant. But how activation energy is changed as a lowered activation energy, so shape of the Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution graph won't change. The only thing where what happened, if you are not using a catalyst, these are the particles which will form a product, because they have energy more than activation energy. So definitely this will result in a formation of product. But when we lower the activation, when we use a catalyst, it lowered the activation energy. Now this whole proportion of the particle will have energy more than activation energy, and as a result this whole proportion will form a product. So that's why using a Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution graph we can work out the number of the particles which will form a product and what will be the effect of the catalyst or using a catalyst for this reaction. Is it clear that how catalysts alter the rate or the speed of the reaction? So if you want to measure the speed of the reaction or rate of reaction, what we can do, we can have the change in concentration and time or volume or change in mass for the reactant, and we'll draw a tangent. Experimentally, if we want to measure the rate of reaction, there are different ways like change in concentration of the reactant, change in concentration of the product, or change in mass of the reactant or reaction mixture, or volume of the product. So the change in concentration and time graph can be there. It can be mass of the content or the mixture and time, or it can be volume of the product and time. So if concentration and time, so concentration in the beginning for reactant is maximum and it will decrease. If it is mass and time, in the beginning will have greater content of the flask, but with the passage of time it decreases. And for volume of the product, initially it will be zero, but it will increase and the slope and it decrease until it is having a horizontal line, which means zero slope, shows that the reaction stopped. So concentration time graph, mass time graph, and volume time graph. So what we can do, how we can measure the rate or the speed of the reaction? So we simply draw a tangent. Like by drawing a tangent, we can measure finding the gradient of the tangent at the starting point, near the starting point, and we can work out the initial rate of this reaction. So initially the tangent will be much steeper, which shows the reaction is faster. But when we draw a tangent for the later part, we'll find the gradient or the angle of the tangent is decreasing. It means that the reaction, the rate or the speed of the reaction is also decreasing. So in the beginning it is fast, but then it slow down. Here in the beginning it is or at the beginning it is fast and then it is slow down. Here also it is fast and then slow down. Why in the beginning the reaction is much faster? Because there are more particles or greater number of the particles. That's why they will have more collagen, result in a faster rate of formation of a product. But with the passage of the time, the amount of the reactant particle decreases. That's why the rate of the reaction will also decrease. So if you want to measure the rate or the speed of the reaction, we can work out by using the change in concentration and draw the gradient, draw the tangent and find the gradient of the tangent. Or there is also another way. We can also measure the rate or the speed of the reaction by finding the time taken by cross to disappear. Like what we'll do in this. So if you want to measure the rate or the speed of the reaction, there are different ways to measure rate or speed of reaction. We can measure it by volume of a, like if a gas is given off, so we can measure the change in mass of a content of a flask, or we can measure the volume of the gas. In this one, the first experiment, like calcium carbonate, marble chips are there. It was reacting with hydrochloric acid, result in a formation of carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide gas will push the gas syringe due to pressure and then will collect the gas. So we can measure the volume of the gas in time and sketch a graph, and using the graph we will draw a tangent, and after drawing a tangent we can work out the rate of initial rate by drawing a tangent near the starting point, and that will give us the initial rate of the reaction. The second one, we allow the gas to escape. So the purpose of the cotton wool is there, so the mixture, the content in the flask will not escape, only the gas will escape. So as the gas will escape here, what happens? The mass will decrease because gas is being released. So as a result, what happened when we work out the change in mass? In the beginning, we have more mass, but with the passage of the time, the mass will decrease. But it won't be zero. Why it won't be zero? Because even though if all the reactant completely used up, but still there is a flask is there. There will be remaining products which are also there. So it won't be zero. It will be horizontal line until which shows that the reaction stopped as the mass is not changing. So we'll draw a tangent here. Initial rate, to get the initial rate, we'll draw a tangent and that will give us the initial rate of the reaction. Or if a solid is formed, if a reaction occur and a solid is formed, so what we can do, we can work out the time taken by this cross to disappear. So basically there's a printed document or a paper is there on which we mark cross, and then we add the reaction mixtures, such as, like example, hydrochloric acid is reacting with sodium thiosulfate. So this result in a formation of sulfur, solid sulfur, and as you can see, a sulfur is formed, a yellow solid is formed, so which make this solution cloudy, and as it is making a solution cloudy, this cross will disappear. So how we can work out the rate of the reaction? If a cross disappear in a short time, it means the reaction is faster. But if a cross is taking more time, then it means the reaction is slower. Is it clear, this concept of how to work out the speed or the rate of the reaction? So when sodium thiosulfate is reacting with hydrochloric acid, it results in a formation of sodium chloride, sulfur dioxide, sulfur. So this sulfur, it is a white, it is a yellow solid. So but when it is there in the solution, it will make it cloudy, which result in that the cross will disappear, and we can identify the rate by using the time interval. If it disappear in a short time, reaction is faster. If it take longer time, the reaction is slower. So volume of the product, like when we are comparing, if you are using a different amount of the reactant, then the volume of the product will also change. Like if you are using a higher concentration of a limiting reagent, even when you are using a reaction, like finding the rate of the reaction, if you change the limiting reagent, then the rate of the reaction will change, but amount of product won't change. The amount of product will be changed. If you change an access reagent, then the rate of reaction changes and amount of product will not change. So as you can see, this is a volume of product and time. So steeper slope refers to faster rate of the reaction. And why different? Why the product at A and B are different? It means we are using at a higher concentration of the reactant or more reactant particle, and at B we use lower concentration of the reactant particle. But what about C and D? So it shows, like example, maybe a temperature is changed, reduce the temperature, that's why it is slower. And what about D? It also shows that maybe we use large pieces of large area or large particle size and small surface area, which also reduces the rate of reaction. So if the reaction is faster, the slope will increase, but if a reaction is slower, the slope will decrease. Is it clear, the topic, the rate or the speed of the reaction, reaction kinetics and reversible reaction? Any doubt? So next session, we will do reversible reaction. Today we completed the reaction kinetics. We started with the concept of a collision theory, then Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution graph, which is very important. You should learn all the labels. And then how the temperature, the concentration, and the catalyst can alter or the rate of the reaction, or what will be the change in shape of the graph. if we are changing any of these factors, and then measuring the rate of reaction by using initial rate or rate of the reaction, concentration of the reactant.